Hi, my name's Rachel.lee from 350 Strategy. I'm going to take you through a whistle-stop tour of this biomass supply chain Monte-Carlo simulation. I'm just going to run it straight from the word go very quickly. You'll see all sorts of things happening there. I'm just going to quickly slow it down. On the left hand side we have 3 pallet mills. These are each 2 lines of varying reliability. You see when it's green it's fully operational, amber is 1 line running, red is no lines operating. These are moving pallet by, in the case of A and C, rail freight into load port A and B, and in the case of mill B, by truck into load port B. And from there they're shipped according to various sets of criteria to our discharge port, A or port B, and then transported from there by rail to our power plant. You see all sorts of things going on here in terms of stock being increasing at the load ports. We'll see ships coming into our port. If I speed it up a bit, you should be able to see some of that happening. So we see a shipment pending, shipping port, ship unloading, so ship loading there, then ship unloading at the other end. We see our stock at our power plant start to come up, our units now operating, generating about 400 megawatts, and this is our total capacity. Now this little model is going to run essentially 50 realisations, so 50 runs of the same first year of operation, and from that we'll get a little bit of a feel for what the Monte-Carlo outputs can tell us. So I'm just going to speed it right up and just run those 50 realisations. At the top here we can see the amount of pallet, total quantity of pallet in the supply chain. And we see our power station coming on and off, and occasionally we get a fire will occur which will cause a long shutdown of the power station. All sorts of things going on. So we come to the end of our 50 realisations, and the model is going to try to save a file, which it actually won't be able to do, so I'll just stop that. Now we can look at some of the outputs. So we can look at the mean outputs, for example, of the different pallet mills, or we could look at each of the realisations that have occurred in the model, all the different scenarios that have happened. We can look at the stock history in a pallet mill. This black line is the mean amount of stock, and we see the probability distributions either side of that. So occasionally we do get our pallet mill at capacity, and that will be causing the pallet mill to stop in that case. We can look at the output of the pallet mills as a probability distribution, very lumpy because we're only running a small number of realisations, but we can see the sort of probabilities of producing different volumes of material, so 20% chance of producing more than 330,000 tonnes and 60% chance, etc. on there. We can move through and look at what happened at the power generator, what the probability of different outputs from our power generator is. We can look at reliability statistics. So for example, this is the power generator, but we could look at pallet mills as well. We see it operated for 50% of the time. This is the initial period waiting for fuel in grey. The external failure here is actually, in this case, station fuel. So this shows the period when the power plant was waiting for fuel. And then we've got normal failures of the power plant and planned maintenance. Another interesting thing we can look at is a trade chart. So this chart shows that there's around about a 10% chance that we won't have to trade anything, but for example about a 5% chance that we might have to trade about 120,000 tonnes based on the kinds of numbers we've put into this model in terms of reliabilities and so on. We can do sensitivity analysis, we can optimise for various parameters, we can look at the effects of different shipping strategies, different storage sizes, all those kinds of things can be modelled and analysed in this kind of simulation. If you're interested in a bit more detail, there is a longer video available on this, or you can contact me directly. Best to do that by email. My email address is rachel.lee@350strategy.co.uk. Thank you.